corporate America. Whew, from beer companies to now big retailers. Look at this. Target is now pulling some of its Pride collection merchandise after threats to employees and backlash from customers. The line includes LGBTQ apparel for adults, children, and even their pets. And one of those items is an adult swimsuit, which openly promotes tuck-friendly construction. I'll just let that sit. A Target insider says the company held several emergency calls with regional store leaders. That insider told Fox News Digital, and this is a quote, "We were given 36 hours, told to take all of our Pride stuff and move it into a section that's a third of the size, from the front of the store to the back. I think given the current situation with Bud Light, the company is terrified," end quote. Now Target is responding to those new revelations with a spokesperson saying, "Since introducing this year's collection, we've experienced threats impacting our team members' sense of safety and well-being while at work. Given these volatile circumstances, we are making adjustments to our plans, including removing items at the center of the most significant confrontational behavior. Our focus now is on moving forward with our continuing commitment to the LGBTQIA+ community," end quote there, the statement from the company. Can they just simply move on, Kennedy?
I have a gay pet, Harris, so I appreciate that Target
You know what?
has some gay things from my gay dog. Looking at you, Lemmy. You know what you like. Yeah, I love him, and he loves boys, and I'm fine with that, Harris, and I embrace that. But I think, as a society, we have to come back to equilibrium, and that's what we're doing. Everyone's so mad. They're mad about Bud Light. They're mad about Target. Now people are mad at Target for moving stuff. So, we have to find some common ground, some commonality. And it used to be like all these big corporations, they would celebrate Pride Month. United, I'm not gonna lie, Harris, I've flown first class on United, it's lovely. But they would have like a little pride flag on the bag with the lip gloss and the eye shades. And that's great. It's like a high five. So we need more high fives and less cancellation.
So again, can they just move on? Because Bud Light hasn't. They're still bleeding customers. I mean, the sales of their beers are still down.
Dismal and plummeting still to that trend, to your point. I love what you said about the high five. I think that the issue that I am seeing and hearing, and from what I understand, is that it's not the high five people have issues with, it's the having something rammed down their throat. It's the taking it to the extreme within that. So a lot of customers' complaints had to do not with the fact that there were Pride celebratory garments at Target, but that they included tuck-friendly swimsuits in the children's section. Now, Target has come out and responded and said those are adults only. They are firmly within the adult section online, but there was clearly consumer confusion, or at least people's impressions, that there were swimsuits here for children that advertised very clearly that they were tuck-friendly, and parents didn't want to see that when they went into the Target, nor did they want their children to be exposed to that. So a lot of the questions surrounding this, and including the comment about the threats, we talk a lot of the time about how people perceive words as threats, words as violence, right? We've seen that over and over again. In fact, with videos just yesterday where a professor called a table of paraphernalia.
We're going to get into that
violent.
later.
And the point is that I wonder if a customer raised that question, hey, is this appropriate? Hey, I'm uncomfortable with this. Is that the threat Target was talking about? So there's a lot of questions that are raised by this that I think if it was merely a high five and if it was merely in that sort of normalized moderate zone, then customers wouldn't be so shocked and they wouldn't be so angry.
Yeah, the big challenge too, it's something that I've alluded to before. The people who really get caught in the middle here are the people who would go to Target for the Pride items. And now they realize that there's this rift, that there's this battle going on over them, but they're not at the table to help make some of these decisions. Maybe they wouldn't want the tuck-friendly underwear that now a parent has to explain to a child suddenly next to the kids section either.
Yeah, now let me tell you my huge problem with what Target has done. And apparently they've corrected this mistake, but FoxNews.com had an article out about one of the designers of someone they included in this LGBTQIA+ paraphernalia. This individual is a self-proclaimed Satanist. Here's a quote up on FoxNews.com of one of the designers they decided to feature. "Satanists don't actually believe in Satan. He is merely used as a symbol of passion, pride, and liberty. He means to you what you need him to mean. So for me, Satan is hope, compassion, equality, and love." This is one of the designers for the companies that they chose to feature. Now, apparently Target has removed that paraphernalia, But why would you ever allow a person with that kind of opinion to put paraphernalia in your store? Parents have a right to be upset about this, and this is the same thing we saw at Dodger Stadium. Now they're mocking Catholics, and they're welcoming there, and they're giving them an award, these trans nuns. This is happening, and it's an attack on people of faith, and that's the problem with this.
Well, and the bigger problem is that the I now is the biggest thing in DE&I. It's that inclusion thing. Everybody's included, even those who would say one thing or another about faith, or maybe redefine the word Satanism. Everybody's included.
Well, I think everybody, at least in theory, agrees with inclusivity. But the problem is where you go over the line into indoctrination.
Another I word.
Another I word. And you know, obviously that's a real problem. And then on top of that, it comes from a company like Target. I've never been in a Target, so I
thought you got your tie there.
It can't.
I love it too.
But you know, I mean, getting lectured to, moralized to by a company that buys a bunch of cheap junk from China and is trying to make money is kind of a little too much for, I think, a lot of customers.
Yep.
Huh. I lived in Minnesota, right down from one of the flagship stores of Target. It's a wonderful company. I can't even imagine what that emergency call was like for those executives. Oh man.